Hang on a second, guys. We're having some technical problems with the vidya. Hold on just a minute. I'll rerun the credits for y'all. How about that? There we are. Okay, that's much better. Yeah. Hey, how you doing this evening, folks? It's good to see you. It's good to be seen by you. I am Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, currently the one and only. And I had to reboot the camera. I guess it got resentful that it's been malabused and misappropriated and put to different uses and everything like that. But welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. Matt Sherman, hi and bye. Good to see you. I met Matt. It's a lot of fun sometimes to meet fans of the show, and Matt happened to be in my neck of the woods. Now, Matt was one of the lucky people whose name got drawn for a prize at the GWOC Great Underground Online Gaming Convention back in June. And I'm terrible at expediting things, but that brings up some good. That brings up some good news. That brings up some good stuff. Starting in 2024, Mrs. the Dungeon Delver is going to be doing my expediting for me. So anything that needs to go out will go out properly. She stepped up and volunteered. So no more late, no more late 3D prints, no more late stuff that Jack has sent me to send to you guys. So that's going to be taken care of. Darth Vader about to get, yeah, that's Darth over here. I've had that 30 years. I'm not kidding you. I have had that standee for 30 years. Well, whenever the definitive collection came out on Laserdisc, which I think was close to 30 years ago. That's when I got that. Hey, Lux. But anyway, so yeah, I'm happy about that. What else is going on? Oh, yeah, right. So I got to meet Matt Sherman, swell guy, decent guy. Got him his copy of the Librum of Gameful Conjurations. And if you haven't gotten that, Jack Photon was our guest a couple of weeks ago. And he's just an incredible dude and does amazing stuff. And you can find those PDFs out there. I think it's jackphoton.space. Is that where people can go? Jack, you'll have to remind me. How much terrain do I have? Enough to do a play on the Mr. Rogers opening? Probably, Michael. You guys can't see it. Maybe I'll share it one day in like a B-roll. But I have a shelf of Dwarven Forge that's about 2 feet high. They're wire rack shelves that are positioned like 2.5 feet from the ceiling. And it extends 12 feet. And that's all boxed sets of Dwarven Forge resin. And there's also a tub of loose Dwarven Forge, their Dwarvenite pieces. I have box sets of like Zaltar's Game Room and some other odds and ends. I have a couple of the cottages. And then I have a large flat, kind of flat tote full of individual resin pieces back when you could buy individual resin pieces. So yeah, I could probably do the Mr. Rogers Neighborhood, Mr. Delver's Dungeon Hood is something I could do. Okay, thank you, Jack. But anyway, speaking of guests, one thing I just, we usually on Mondays we talk about the week ahead. Really, we need to look at the year ahead from now until January. First of all, before I launch into that, though, I want to say I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving and you had safe travels to and from, and mom, grandma, your aunt, your uncle, your dad, granddad, whoever got that turkey up to 165 degrees all the way through. And you didn't eat the stuffing that came out of the bird, because that's where you get the sickness. And no, I didn't live stream really last week. Sunday night, which was really, or Saturday night rather, which was really very, very early Sunday morning, I just dragged the chair over here, flipped the camera on, and sat down and started talking. I thought, oh, okay, it's 1 a.m. Haha, I'll do this for, like 19 minutes and then be done. And it ended up being 2 hours long. So that was that was a long run. Way longer than I wanted it to be. So I didn't really stream last week, but this week we're back to normal for whatever value that has. Meaning tonight, just kind of a general chit chat tonight. Tomorrow night, we're playing first edition AD&D, assuming the whole crew can be here. Wednesday night, Kyle is driving the boat, so you could get run over, chopped up by the propeller. Not my fault. I warned you. Thursday night is open RPG deep dive kind of stuff. And then Friday night, if all participants are here, again, that's an important factor, will be Gamma World. And then we'll do the same thing the following week. Let me see. Let me pull up the calendar. Let's see. Let me check this, because I don't, let me see. So that week. So the week of the 4th, and yeah, the week of the 4th and the week of the 11th, and then things are going to get spotty. Things are going to get a little bit spotty, because at that point, I'm just going to be fully on in holiday mode. I'll throw some videos out there. They may be pre-recorded. I may do some short live streaming, but that 2 weeks into the first of the year is really just too precious. And I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff. All right. Mostly relaxing, also getting ready to launch the second channel, also doing a few things around the studio. But one thing you will get is a video every day of the Dudragao Dice Advent Calendar. We've got another one this year. If you remember last year's and you liked it, that's what we've got this year. It's already arrived, and no, I haven't opened it. No, I'm not peeking. These are going to be as much a surprise to me as they are to you guys. So if you didn't see this, this is 25 days. I know the Advent is traditionally 24 days, but yes, so 25 little doors, and I'll do a short video every day, and we'll open these and we'll see what we got from the guys at Dudragao. And I do hope you are looking forward to that, because I'm looking forward to doing that, and I want it to be a lot of fun. I like doing the Advent calendar stuff with you guys, and it'll be good. It'll be good. Now, last week, was it last week? Yeah, it was very early last week, Monday, Tuesday. We did the mail call Tuesday, but really it was more of an unboxing of all of that classic tabletop RPG stuff I got. Mostly first edition AD&D, a little bit of original D&D, in that I had some Judges Guild stuff, including a copy of Tegel Manor, which I will now hold very close to my heart. The Arduin Grimoire stuff, and so on and etc. Now, also, oh, thank you, Dungeon Minister. Well, I should have known. Michael Mertig, greetings. Yes, mini modules coming, and I will have time to work on it actually this week. I only have one incredibly pressing deadline this week, so that's the November mini module is coming also. And if you want to know what that's all about, the mini module basically. You can support us on Patreon or via YouTube memberships for as little as $1 or $1.99 a month, respectively. I'm sorry about getting chiseled for $2 from YouTube. That's not me. That's YouTube. And we all know how wonderful YouTube is right now. But yeah, so we have a $10 level. It's Master Thief. If you support us at the Master Thief level, the $10 level, every month you'll receive a mini first edition advanced Dungeons and Dragons module written by myself or my co-host Kyle. I wanted to have the November one out quicker, just like I wanted to have the October one out quicker, but this has been a whirlwind busy November, and October was whirlwind busy also. So yeah, that's pretty that's a pretty cool thing that folks seem to like, and so that's coming. But anyway, to go back to what I was talking about with the swag, Thanksgiving Day, we were over at our in-laws invited us over, so was our Thanksgiving. And years ago, I mean, gosh, I guess probably early 2000s. My father-in-law, who was an old school Avalon Hill wargamer, joined us in the D&D game for many months, if not a couple of years. And I gave them a player's handbook and a spare Dungeon Master's guide that I had. And I guess he decided he didn't want it because he gave that and a crap load of Xbox 360 and PlayStation 2 games and a few PC games. I think Neverwinter Nights, the Diablo 2 expansion, Lord of Destruction. But yeah, so I got a Dungeon Master's guide and a player's handbook I wasn't expecting to come rolling in. So now I have those as well, not more spare stuff. So that's the stuff, the big pile of stuff that has now been added to. Whatever am I going to do with yet another haul of first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons books, all of which are duplicates for things I already have? Well, because I'm greedy, the nicer condition modules are going to replace some of my more careworn copies, that's for sure. What am I going to do with the rest of them? I wonder. It does give me a lot to think about. What to do. I'm going to muse on that, and I'm going to get back to you guys on that topic. Mark Morrison, that's that I could do that. Could do something like that. But anyway, so I'm not really going to dwell on, what I might do with all that stuff. It's just something to keep in the back of my mind. Because I have had an exceptionally fortunate year on a gaming front. such incredible generosity poured out by this community for my wife and I to get to go play in the snow up in Wisconsin during GaryCon. For me to get to go to Bryant-Denny Stadium and watch the Alabama Crimson Tide play football. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what's going to happen with that. But I know what's going to happen this week. We're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow. We're going to be playing some first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. You guys can pull up a chair, sit around the table, watch. And as I tell people, guys, this is, you know, this isn't just a canned game of D&D where, you know, I had a table read with the players and I told them what plot points were coming. It's actual real first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Let's Play. And we do that Tuesday night. And we have a great stable of players doing that with us Tuesday night. So there's that. There's Kyle's game on Wednesday to look forward to. And there's Gamma World on Friday. One thing I am happy about, particularly looking in the camera lens right now, is I did treat myself to a little bit of a gift. I have a polarizer coming in. If you don't know what a polarizing lens is, you know how blown out everything looks right now? A polarizer will basically soften this up. And I know what you're thinking. Hey, couldn't you just turn your lights down? My lights are fairly turned down, guys. The lights are fairly turned down. I mean, I need new gels for my two lights over here. But like how this is, but can you guys really tell what color this is? It just looks white. It just looks white. The live is pink, the play button is red, and the border is blue, but you can't tell that because it is completely blown out, or it's blown out on my screen. If I move it over here, it's not really any better, so it's not the monitors. So what I'm hoping is it's an adjustable polarizer lens. I got a really good Black Friday deal on it. And hopefully I'll be able to soften things up. Like I had people for the longest time asking me like, hey, you've got to do something about the Space Hulk box up there. It's so bright. There's like a bad reflection on it. And it's a plastic coated cardboard. I can't really do anything about it. But that's polarizers fix things like that. Without actually shading per se. I don't understand the science behind it. But that is a lens that fits over the lens you already have. And it's adjustable to certain degrees. What is the red dragon to the left of the shield poster? The red dragon. Oh, that is the up here? That's the Hellfire Club logo. This is a really cool thing, and I've gotten these many years. These are awesome. These are called book bows, B-E-A-U, like Beau Bridges, or Beau Geste, or Beau Duke. No, I think he just spelled that B-O. But anyway, what this is a padded case into which you can put books. And they do limited edition. They do limited edition ones. This is Blade Runner themed. I don't know how well you guys can see that. But there's the Lucky Dragon noodle bar, and there's Gaff, and Deckard, of course, sitting down. And then I have this one that hopefully, as always, will cause a cascade of hilarity. This one, the detail might not quite come through. That is, of course, Bag End. And then I have this badass one up here. Now, I don't travel with my D&D books much. But that is what they're for. You can put a tablet in here, books, what have you, and they have a zipper across the top. So I figured a couple of magnets on the wall. Hey, Cornelius. And a couple of magnets inside to hold them up so they don't have to just sit on a shelf not being seen by you guys. And I have 3, and I rotate them out periodically. And it occurred to me that I think it was Blade Runner had been up there for a really, really long time. So I switched it back out with that one. I got these 2 for separate Christmases, and I got that for Father's Day. So I hope that answers your question. Hello, Jack71. They're arriving all over the place. Dungeon Minister. Miss Bell Games. How are you? Good to see you. They are really neat. And they do like you get like zigzag patterns and ones that are just black and what have you all the time, but they do, like these, the Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings, and the Hellfire Club up here were all limited edition print runs. So the wife jumped right on those. So I rather like them. Thank you, Jack. My wife thought I would too. And here, you know what? I will demonstrate their utility. Let's say you got your Games Workshop hardback copy of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, and you don't want this beaten up while you're taking it to and from. So you just slip it down in there, and then you zip your cover closed. Actually, this book may be a little fat. And there you go. Nice and firm. Slip it and zip it. That's right, Michael Doe. Yeah, the Hellfire Club one is really neat. I quite like it. That was made for AD&D books. That's all that will ever go in that. But anyway, so what else? So we've talked about this week. We talked about Advent calendar. I didn't get a miniature up. I apologize. I've been busy. I think you guys can forgive me. I'll try and get one up tomorrow because, you know, we do preamble ramble before we get to playing the first edition game. We're doing okay on subscriber. It was weird. Like, we got that bump to 5,000 that happened like that, and it was like into the 5,000 in teens. It's like, holy crap. And it just like, and right around the time we hit the late 5,070s, it's kind of leveled off, and it was all the way up to 5,087 this weekend. And then it fell down to like 5,083. And now it's 5,081. And now it's been doing this a lot. So we're at 5,085 subscribers. Thank you, Michael. I do have some pretty cool gadgets. So I'm hoping we can get that next 15 in. So if you haven't already subscribed, if you're out there and you're just driving by on the internet and you're like, hey, what is this? I'm gonna dip in here and see what this is. Please click the subscribe button, click the bell icon for notifications. And you can find out whenever we're doing these streams. Even if I get a wild hair at 1:00 on a Sunday morning and decide I want to sit here and talk about nothing at all to you guys. Although I have to hand it, who was it? Somebody asked me an actual topical question. I don't remember who asked it, but they asked me about like and I get asked this a lot. They're like, what's the difference between Osric and First Edition AD&D? Are they exactly the same? Are they fully compatible? So we talked about that. But no, it was rather enjoyable. I was in the mall this weekend. I was in the mall, and I had two compliments. I was wearing my basic Dungeons and Dragons T-shirt with the Errol Otis art on it, and there's this store called Box Lunch that's it's very cool. It's like if Hot Topic just stopped trying to be edgy and just sold cool merch kind of stuff. And yeah, it's fairly corporate, but my kids like it. And my wife actually likes some stuff from there. So I swung through there looking for, potential Christmas presents because I was by myself. I had errands on Sunday, lots of errands. And so I swung by Box Lunch, and there was a young lady. She was like, "Oh, I love your D&D T-shirt." I was like, "Oh, yeah, very cool." And I said, "Do you play?" And she's, "Yeah." And she just started going on about her ranger character, and I thought it was very cool. It was very cool. I said, "Well, yeah, I'm an old school guy, so for me, a ranger is half elf or human, any good alignment." Minimum stat requirements, like con of 14, et cetera, plus 1 point of damage for every level they are against giant kin, 2d8 hit dice to start, and they get druid and magic user spells at high level. And then they have all the tracking abilities. And she just smiled and she said, "That sounds so neat. The older edition sounds so neat." So I gave her the channel link. Hopefully she came here. Young lady, I'm sorry I don't recall your name, but if you're out there watching, shout out to my new pal from Box Lunch. And then right next door to it, there's a store that I could just be buried in, and it is a store that sells repros of vintage rock T-shirts from like the 60s through to today. They had some modern bands, but I was looking for a replacement for my Black Sabbath Masters of Reality shirt, which shrank like bad. Like, look, I get it, I'm a fat dude, but this shrank bad. It just, like, I went to put it on when it was out of the dryer one day, and I'm like, I did not turn into Baby Huey. I know I didn't. So I gave that one to my daughter because she likes Sabbath. And so I went looking for one, and they had a white one with black lettering, and I'm looking for a black one with purple lettering. But the dude was pretty righteous. He too liked the Errol Otis T-shirt. We talked about, I talked about meeting Tracy and knowing Tracy, and of course we had Errol Otis on the show, and Darlene, and Dave LaForce. And it was it was just a good time. And then we got to talking about metal, I said, yeah, I've seen this in this band, Rush, Queensrÿche, Metallica a couple times, on and on and on. And I said, but the best concert I've been to was Billy Joel. He's like, what? And I've told you guys that Billy Joel story, but we talked about that. It was just a good time, connecting through fan merch. And the other one, it was this shirt. This is the House of the Jasmine Dragon. And if you guys aren't fans of Avatar: The Last Airbender, you should be. It's good stuff. Anyway, I was doing some shopping today, picking up some Christmas lights, so on and etc. And so guy rang me up. Another dude comes up to the counter as I'm leaving, says, "I like your Avatar shirt." So we started talking about Atla. And the guy who rang me up was kind of trapped between us. Like his coworker to his right or to his left, and me to his right on his way out. We end up having like this like 2-minute conversation, and the guy's like looking back and forth between us as just this complete like, I'm trapped, help me, help me kind of look, as he you know, this guy who was probably, I don't know, 20 maybe, and myself geeking out about Avatar, and his coworker who was probably the same age was just like watching us go on and on about it. But anyway, so collecting chaos, Jehudi Hody. I like that. I like that typo. But anyway, so yes, connecting through t-shirts, and then otherwise I had a generally pretty good day. But not much other than the fun encounters and the extra, the loot I've got out there. Whatever will I do with it all? I don't know, guys. I don't know. All that's, of course, you know, going on game wise. I'm going to be tracking down more RPG news, more old school. Oh, you know what? I've got some old school RPG news for you. This is pretty cool. Hi Karate, there you go. And it's HAI. Hi Karate. As a metal rock fan myself, Bill got caught by the guitar bite. Yeah. I was this close to picking up the guitar when I was a kid, but I just didn't have the patience for it, you know, ADHD or whatever. But anyway, to continue on, this is a little bit of RPG news. I think it's good, fun RPG news. I turned in my last manuscript revision to Heidi and Eric over at Gaxland, and Shadows over Lake Geneva is coming out soon. And I'm not going to spoil it, except to say that you will be able to play it with first edition AD&D. The 5e stuff in there is the afterthought. The first edition AD&D is the main stuff. And let me just, one compound word, little tiny spoiler alert. I hope they don't mail me, a plastic horse's head for spoiling firearms. If you don't know, hopefully your interest is piqued. If you do know, you know. So I worked on a lot of that. So I'm excited about that. So that will be coming soon, and I hope that there is a lot of interest. I hope you guys all check it out. And you know, a lot of people mistake it, like when I go and I say, like I talk about my friends over at Hellabard Games, and this live stream is brought to you by our friends at Hellabard Games. They make the kind of adventures they'd like to play, whether it's for 5th edition, for Castles and Crusades, or the OSR. Old School is in play at the table with Hellabard Games, and you can find them on DriveThruRPG or on their website, hellabardgames.com. Do check them out. But a lot of people think when I pitch companies and I talk about, hey, go buy this, it was written by me, and people enthusiastically go do that. I hear from my publishers, like if I reach out to them, they're like, man, your module's really, we've seen an uptick on that. And I always say, well, I mentioned it on the show. But we freelance writers, generally speaking, we get paid one time for what we do. That's not a complaint. That's not a complaint. And I think a lot of people mistakenly think that when I say, go buy my book from Frog God Necromancer, from Hellabard, from Gaxland, that like I'm getting a piece of that back. I'm not. I want you to buy it because, guys, whether you think I'm a terrible YouTuber, a wonderful YouTuber, and I know one of you out there by comments thinks I'm a terrible YouTuber, but I can only do what I do. I'm an okay computer guy. It's kind of passed me by. I went shopping for a new motherboard this weekend. That's a long, dumb story I'm not going to get into. But and I thought I was up to date on PC stuff, on desktop PC stuff. And apparently DDR5 is now the memory standard. I was like, yeah, I know 3 is dead. No, it's DDR5. And of course, it's not like if you have a DDR4 board, you can't put DDR5 on it, and vice versa. So if you're like me and you're looking to do a system refresh, new motherboard, I can keep my video card if I wanted to get bottlenecked. But new motherboard, new RAM, new CPU. And don't even get me started on software, right? Like server stuff and everything. I would have to crash course everything I learned over a decade ago about server side stuff. Most of it would go right in the garbage. So I'm an okay computer guy. But I am a damn good writer. I am a damn good writer. And whether you think that makes me an artist, whether you think that makes me a writer, I've had people like get upset at me / on my behalf when I say I'm not really an artist. I'm a writer. And it's of D&D stuff. It's like fantasy stereo instructions. I have people, don't you doubt yourself. I'm on eternity leave, Michael. YouTube and pick up freelance work is my day job right now. The one office job I would run to, I would drop what I was doing if they were like, yeah, the times you live stream, that's when we need you to be here, is if I got offered a position at NASA again. I'd go to weekend live streams for the show. I love the look of the aesthetic of new computer cases, Jack. Like mine has a tempered glass panel. It's black with the exception of a few lights from the motherboard and so on. It looks like a stereo from like 1991. I love it. SpaceX, I don't know. I'd really rather do it for NASA. Well, to be fair, when I worked at NASA, I worked for Boeing effectively. I really getting off track. I'm a really good writer. And the reason I promote my stuff on the show, the reason I say, go buy a copy of Lost Crypt, go buy a copy of Elemental Moon, go buy a copy of Temple of the Sun, go buy a copy of I lost track of all the module names for stuff I've done at Gaxland. It isn't because it would be nice if they said, oh, well, we got this much more sale and let's kick some of that to Bill. But it's, and I'm also not saying, well, I'm doing it for exposure. Expose me to money is what I'm saying. But I'm a really good writer, and I will shout that from the rooftop. Thank you, Esteban. I appreciate that. Have I written it? That's an interesting question, George. That's an interesting question. And to answer that question for you, have I written anything for the OSR? I am the OSR. The OSR is not without me. There would be no OSR without me. I've never really thought of myself in OSR terms. I'm just a guy who writes AD&D stuff. When Lance Hovermail came to me and said, write a module with me, I was like, I don't want to write a 3rd edition module. And he said, shut up. Write a 1st edition module. I'll worry about the 3rd edition and the meaning of it. And so that's what I did. When I did stuff for Hellebarde, Temple of the Sun is a 1st edition AD&D module. They just had to file off the Greyhawk IP and flip a few of the Wizards only IP monsters out of it and swap in some new stuff. The things I've done for Gaxland, converting stuff to OD&D and AD&D, well, it's converted for OD&D and AD&D. They can't say OD&D and AD&D, but when I sit down and work on it, I've got the PDF of the Dungeon Master's Guide or the OD&D books open and converting from it. Temple of the Sun, Lost Crypt is, it was to go into a manuscript written by Gary in 1975 that was going to be flipped over for Castles and Crusades. You don't get much more OD&D than that. I don't know who those two of those people you're talking about, RL. I literally don't. That's not to be insulting, because unlike a lot of people, I'm not going to sit here and throw out baseless insults. But anyway, did I know that NASA used a King Tiger tank? No, I sure didn't. I didn't know that. If you search my name on Gaxland, would the modules pop up? I think, Michael. That's a good question. I went Christopher Walken for a second. It's a good question. Trick or treat. Quite the conundrum. My question to you kids is, which one of you can guess what I have buried under my house? Gaxland. So let's see. Do they have a search tool? They don't have a search tool. Well, how about this? Let's do a Google search for Gaxland Bill Sylvie. So it's on their Kickstarter page, and it's on the Drive-Thru RPG. Let me see. I'm on Drive-Thru RPG. No, I'm not. It didn't. It said it was going to open it. I think it just sucked it down as like a, oh, you're looking for this. Did you mean Garland Bill Sylvie? I sure did not. So it's on their Kickstarter page, but that's not to say that they won't have a context search over there. Anyway, to come back to what I'm saying, needs more cowbell. Walking in Memphis. Oh, that's very cool. That is, Natalie, poor Natalie. But anyway, so yeah, Shadows over Lake Geneva, Tomb of the Dundle Chief, The Darkness Under the Waterfowl. All of those I have had a hand in. I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa. And I tell you guys to go out and buy that stuff because I am a freaking good writer. I'm good at it. I've written industry white papers that have made people in enterprise IT stop and go, whoa, this is good stuff. This guy's got good stuff. I have at least a couple of issues of Info Week magazine with big pieces by me in them. So that's really, I mean, that's all I have to say on the topic of go out and buy my stuff. Go out and buy my stuff. Gaxland, Hellebard, Frog God. And if you want some of it every month, if you're like, well, I bought all your stuff already, become a patron at the $10 level. Become a YouTube subscriber or a YouTube membership at the $10 level. Because guess what? You do that every month. A free first edition AD&D module from me or from Kyle. And I'll let you know which is which. It's like, you know, and it's just something you can slip into your AD&D game. It's like just a monthly subscription thing that you can do. Well, thank you, Mon. I appreciate that. But anyway, and that's what I do. Has the University of Relmord Press has been graced with my work? No, unfortunately not, Jack. Unfortunately not. Yeah, those bastards at the Greyhawk City Collegium Magica haven't gotten back to me yet either. Or if they have, they just walk in and say, we are not going to pay you. Ask us again next month. And then hit me with forget. Or feeble mind. Feeble mind, the way I feel most days, is more like it. I was... somebody mentioned this. Speaking of first edition D&D related things, and we've talked about this on the show before. If you're a fan of classic D&D and you like computer games, you have the patience to play a retro computer game, play Wizardry. Get it off GOG or Steam or wherever. Play Wizardry. There's a remaster of it that has much fancier graphics. But the thing that I love about the remaster is, in its guts, it is running an Apple II virtual machine. And that Apple II virtual machine is running all of the game logic. The graphics engine is showing you nice, like, this is why I paid hundreds of dollars for a video card, levels of graphics. But all of the important stuff, all of the grunt stuff, all the brain work being done by the game is being done on an emulated Apple II inside the game engine. And I bring that up because someone on Twitter was posting today that they posted up an image from the Wizardry anime. Yes. Wizardry caught fire in Japan. The Japanese loved Western RPGs. Dungeons and Dragons was huge in Japan. Still is, as far as I know. But Wizardry hit so hard that there were a bunch of Wizardry games that were only released in Japan. And they actually got a license from Surtech, and they made a Wizardry anime. that is completely faithful to the game. It's an OVA. It's like one 100-minute animated film. And if you've played the first Wizardry and you know the story in the manual, you know, you have Hawkwind's band of adventurers. They're all represented in the anime. I recommend checking it out. 6, 7, and 8 on GOG. Hey, Hypercam. I am talking the original game and series. Miss Bella. Okay, so Miss Bella and I are like on different ends of the teeter-totter here. I've only played Wizardry, Proving Ground of the Mad Overlords, Revenge of Weirdna, Return of Weirdna, rather, Knight of Diamonds, and Legacy of Lilgammon. Bane of the Cosmic Forge and all those, 6 and 7 and then 8, are kind of a different series of Wizardry. So, but here's the thing. Everybody who likes grindy CRPGs, Square Dungeon style, has had nothing but praise about those games. So if you like Bard's Tale, if you like the original Ultima, if you like the original Might and Magic, if you those kind of things, fantasy and so on, I think you're going to like 6, 7, and 8. I do think you're going to like it. I unremittingly love the manga style art in the Japanese D&D. If I had a line on Japanese D&D books, like physical Japanese D&D books, I would get them just to have for the artwork. They're that neat. Unfortunately, it was only ever basic D&D. Gygaxian does not translate well into Japanese. I am made to understand. But yeah, you know, when D&D took off in Japan, and of course, on the heels of that, we get Wizardry, and then it just boom, just blew up, and then other TTRPGs were big over there. Tunnels and Trolls became big in Japan, which I thought was fun. I have a free RPG day. It's buried over here somewhere. I'm not digging it out for you guys because you know what happens when I go looking for books. Tunnels and Trolls free RPG day module. Like the cover is all in Japanese. It looks like a slick manga. It's very strange. And I mean, Miss Bella, like even Wizardry 8, which when Wizardry 8 dropped, there's a lot of inside baseball about Surtech and the Wizardry series that I don't know. But I remember the devs kept a blog, and when Wizardry 8 was coming, people were like, oh man, this has been years in the making. And I remember seeing screenshots and playing demos of Wizardry 8, like unfinished demos, and it had like 3D graphics, like I would say probably Unreal Engine 2, maybe Unreal Engine level graphics. So it's like when slimes would attack you, they jiggle and glisten and were actually like elastic looking and everything. And it was, I mean, that's a far cry from how Wizardry started out. Far cry. But, you know, even there are a lot of people to whom even Wizardry 8's graphics are very, you know, they think it's very primitive. But even Wizardry 8's graphics will run on a potato, I guess is what I'm saying. So if you 6, 7, and 8, trust me, you don't have to be well, first I got to save up a new computer. Save up for a new computer. No. I don't know if Zork was big in Japan, Kennick. I would think not. All that text would have to be converted, and there are tens and tens, if not hundreds of thousands of words in Zork. King's Quest 4, a fine game. I remember when I heard about King's Quest, I was over the moon and I was ready for it. But that sucker, like, it seemed to be on every platform except the Commodore. And they were like, well, it's going to require at least like a minimum of 128K. And I was like, oh, damn it. But then for a brief period, I owned a C128 and I was like, by gum, they've got to port it. And they never did. It was kind of like an 8/16. George, okay, oh, that is completely out of line. You can delete that comment, or I can. Not because of what you said, but because of what you did. I'll wait. I mean, you think of the silver slimes from Dragon Quest. No, I know what they said. I'm talking about the emote you put on the end. Unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. Anyway, Murtig, you're saying, I made you think of the silver slimes from Dragon Quest on the Nintendo. Let me just take care of this. Sorry, excuse me for a second, guys. I have believe it or not, I never played Dragon's Quest. Anyway, I was talking about sorry, I'm a little thrown off. Oh, that's very true, Engine Joe. In fact, the from what I've heard, a TSR employee spoke to his counterparts at Capcom a lot. They had a lot of input. I like them. I have them on my Steam account. I've just not gone back into playing. They're kind of a unique genre of game. They're the beat 'em up RPG because there are branching choices. Your decisions make a difference. You get XP, you buy equipment, you can get healed up. Is that muted? Got to make sure that's muted. Don't want to feed back through the speakers. In the context of what you said, There. Yeah, you can use that emote. Feel free to use it. Use a whole stack of them. There's a context. And you know what you did. But we're not going to talk about it anymore. Graph Paper Architect, hello, how are you? It's good to see you. It's good to be seen by you. Cannot believe I just had to do that. I played a lot of them at the arcade, Tower of Doom and Shadow over Mystara, and I love the way they look. That was one of the rare times I actually ever used a sprite ripper to get graphic images out of an arcade game. Like if you do a ROM dump of an arcade game and you use a sprite ripper, you can take you can take basically screenshots of certain things. And I loved the art in those games so much that a friend who had the MAME ROM, he actually had the CPS2 boards for those games like hanging on his wall. And he let me use a sprite ripper to get some of the, and I lost them on a backup DVD that went bad or something like that. TRF is over. Have your evenings back for all. Hey, that's awesome. John Stewart Keller. Welcome. Welcome back, I should say. Yes, do put that on your wish list. That's the one, Miss Bella, I was talking about. GOG has a remaster of the original Wizardry, Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord, in early access. And that is the one that runs a... yes, Vaughn, chat's still going on. That is the one that runs the emulated Apple II game under the fancy graphics engine. So, Miss Bella, if you play that, you will be playing the original Wizardry just with pretty graphics, which I think is pretty cool. That dragon fight at the end of Tower of Doom was, man, oh, sorry, spoiler. You fight a dragon at the end of Tower of Doom, guys. That one was excellent. That was magnificent. You know, Hillsfar was another quasi-action RPG. The thing about Hillsfar that I thought was really cool is it was fairly different from the Gold Box games, but you could port characters out of the Gold Box games into Hillsfar. Michael, I don't have the programming skills. When I was a kid, I tried to write my own D&D game many times on my C64. Even once my programming skills got better, I was limited to verb noun parser. And that was because I got those from Compute Gazette, Writing Adventure and Writing Your Own Adventure Games in Basic by Tim Hartnell. That is correct. In television, you had Treasure of Taraman and Cloudy Mountain. Now, the games belonged to they were basically the Mattel computer properties nobody who bought Mattel's IP wanted, and a company called Blue Sky Rangers back in the 90s, which consisted of the dev team of Intellivision and Aquarius computers at Mattel, all got back together and put out their arms and hugged all their IP and brought it back. But they knew TSR and Wizards of the Coast would say, So they used to sell, you could buy a burned CD with all of the Intellivision ROMs and an Intellivision emulator, and it just became Treasures of Tarman and Cloudy Mountain, but they took those off. And there used to be a story, you might find it on the Wayback Machine, but there used to be a story on the Blue Sky Rangers website where they talked about how weird it was to deal with TSR. And every instance of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons had to be all caps with parens TM next to it. Everywhere. Any reference on screen, in the game manuals, on the box, in advertising. It was not Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. It was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons trademark. Oh, Cinemaware, yeah. There was a what was it, Dragonflight or something like that? I know there's a Dragon Riders of Pern book called Dragonflight, but there was one of the gold box games was a Dragonlance flight simulator. And someone told me that it was the same company that would go on to do Red Baron, the Sierra game. I could be completely making that last part up. Yeah, the Dragon Riders of Pern game was Avalon Hill. Their automated simulations, I think, was their division. And I have most of the Mayfair board game for Dragon Riders of Pern. Dragon Strike, thank you, Graph Paper. That was exactly it. Dragon Strike. Yeah. I remember Engine Joe. I remember that. You did stream it. Was there a Pern TTR? I don't know. Oh, that's neat, Connect. She was actually this was so odd, and I didn't like. By the time I found out of this, I was just completely out of and did not care about Dragon Riders of Pern anymore. Me in the mid 1990s would have been over the moon and I would have flipped out. But there was a little tiny local used bookstore just up the street from where I live now. I've talked about it before. It's where I got a lot of rare D&D books because the lady that ran the place liked me and would, generally speaking, hold on to them. And she, that is to say, Anne McCaffrey, and she got along really well. And one day, Anne McCaffrey did a personal appearance in this tiny little local bookstore right over here. I was kind of flabbergasted. We were driving by, and there was a crowd, and I went in like the next time, and I said, "What was going on Saturday that you guys were slammed?" Oh, Anne McCaffrey was here. No, Dragon Riders of Pern did have a video game, but so did the Xanth. I think there was at least one Xanth game. But anyway, so we're just about going to wrap up here, guys. We'll be back tomorrow night. Guess what? We're going to be playing first edition AD&D tomorrow night. We'll do a little preamble ramble beforehand. You know how it goes. You know how we do. But tomorrow night, we will be playing first edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Critical Role. That's right. D&D the way it is played. No scripts, no setups, just pure first edition AD&D. And then Wednesday night, Kyle's in charge. And then Thursday night, we'll probably do a deep dive. And then Friday night, we'll be playing some Gamma World for you guys. Same as the AD&D. But here's the thing about the AD&D, at least. And I do my best on Gamma World. But the one thing I will mention is, if you're watching us play first edition AD&D and you have a question, ask a question. Ask a question, and if I see it pop up, I will answer it. I will absolutely answer it for you. So thank you all again for being here tonight. It was fun to be here. You know, had a little bit of moment, but what can I say? But we'll be back tomorrow, and I don't know that I'll do a GW mini module, Vaughn. Who can say? Who can say? So have a lovely evening, everybody. Be good to each other. You know, just do your darndest to be good to each other. And thank you, Esteban. I love all you guys, and I'm going to see you tomorrow night. Peace. Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere, in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around, some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle, way off course? Naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the